Hey everybody, Jeremy Siskind here. I am the author of Jazz Piano Fundamentals, great book for the first 6 months of jazz piano studies, and I'm the author of Playing Solo Jazz Piano, and I recently put out this album, which you can stream anywhere or buy from my site if you want. And today, I want to talk a little bit about Bill Evans, one of everybody's favorite jazz pianists. And I was listening through some Ballad tracks from Bill Evans and noticing some things that he does to frame the melody in interesting ways. And I thought that we could learn about this together. So maybe before anything else, let me play an example of, my best Bill Evans ballad melody imitation. Of course, it's not going to be as good as Bill, but I want to show you a few of these devices. So I think we're going to use the tune The Nearness of You to demonstrate. So I'll play it in F, I guess. So I want to show you a few of the things that I'm doing with the melody, and I do have something exciting to share, which is that I've got some new technology. So you guys are going to have to tell me whether you like this or not. Let's do it like this. So with this new technology, you guys have probably seen this on similar things on other channels. I don't think I need to introduce it, but you should be able to see what notes I'm playing. Now, it's going to go by fast. So what we're really working on now is right hand techniques. And by the way, with regards to this new technology, I know that there's a slight delay on the sound. So I'm working on it, but hopefully it'll get better. So the first thing that we noticed that Bill Evans does is frequently play two notes in the melody, harmonizing it. And I think of this two levels. It could be either in thirds. And of course, sometimes when you have thirds, maybe that note won't fit. Even if you try a major third and a minor third. So it could be that you also try some fourths. So if I'm doing that for The Nearness of You, it might be like... I think if you do it too much, of course, it gets a little bit old, but it is nice to have a little second note beneath the melody. Notice I'm also bringing the melody up by an octave, because as we harmonize the melody, it starts getting maybe pretty low towards the chords. If I were to do it down here, right at middle C, not impossible. But I notice that Evans often brings up his melody to give his left hand a little bit more room. So thirds are obviously compact. By the way, some people ask, how do you decide, right? We could have a minor third or a major third. And the short answer is that when we have a chord tone, a note that's representing the chord, and by the way, it's usually a good indication if that note is held, if it's leapt to, or if it's on the beat, then we want to harmonize it with another chord tone. So I'm selecting all of my notes for that first passage from the F major scale. And then as we move to the key center of B flat, I'll use that E flat. Now I'm thinking B flat major scale, And then we go to C sharp diminished or B flat diminished, however you want to think about this chord. And then I'm going to harmonize it with notes from that chord. Now, there are some times when you might have a non-chord tone in the melody, in which case usually you want to harmonize that with a non-chord tone. Like if it's, for example, a lower neighbor, harmonize that with a lower neighbor from the chord. So, for example, that very first D is just kind of leading into that E. So even though the chord's a C7, I might harmonize it with a note outside of the key to form a little neighbor motion. Right? I could also harmonize that with a B flat. It just depends how colorful you want it to be. But in general, I'm just thinking about what's the key center. I'm using notes from the scale, and then if there is a note that's really chromatic, I might harmonize that chromatically. Okay, Evans also uses a lot of sixths beneath the melody, so let me show you how that looks. And by the way, as you're doing this, I find that people start playing with a bad tone when they start playing these bigger intervals. I hear kind of this sharp. Don't do that. We still want the melody to sound really beautiful. So think horizontally. Think drawing your elbow across horizontally. We still want that top note to really sing, because it is the melody. Notice when that melody note holds, the lower note might end up moving, right? Here it feels really necessary to bring it up an octave, because if I didn't bring the melody up an octave, my first low six would be all the way down there. It's not impossible, but it is not giving my left hand very much room. So in order to be like Bill Evans, there I made an unusual decision. I went to the flat 9 of this B flat 7 chord instead of that B flat. You could also do a fifth there. Avoid all those problems. The fifth, 6 moves. So those are some sticks. Now beyond that, one of the things that's so typical of Bill Evans' style is using root position triads. And now these are not always gonna work, right? Because now we're being very specific about what the notes have to be. If it's a root position triad, right? We don't really get to decide too much. We can decide whether it's a major or a minor, maybe even a diminished triad, but overall we're kind of locked into what we've got. So again, I'm thinking about diatonic triads in whatever the key center is. So I'll start with like all triads of F. So I'm harmonizing below the melody note with 2/3 is one way to think of it. That gets a little crazy. I don't know what to do here. I guess maybe a diminished. Okay, so it sounds pretty weird without anything else, right? Sounds like a trumpet fanfare or something. So what Bill Evans does, along with this, is play what I refer to as locked hands comping style, which means that he's repeating chords in the left hand along with this. this C major triad, which sounded so weird, because it's the top part of this chord, sounds relatively normal. And even this D major triad now kind of sounds like an E minor 7. And what Evans does, which is so brilliant, is he pedals every single one of those locked hands triads, and he creates these, I think of them as like bubbling up kind of shapes that have a crescendo, decrescendo. Notice I'm getting some rich and unexpected voicings. Because I'm not thinking about chord tones from the bottom up. Now I'm thinking about this triad in the right hand plus whatever my voicing is in the left hand. And, I'm making slight changes to that left hand voicing to accommodate the right hand triad. So I'm getting all these different possibilities that I wouldn't normally do if I weren't thinking in this way. So that's the third thing. We got thirds, we've got sixths, and then we have these root position triads with locked hands. Of course, at home, I don't know that this is going to be a typical Bill Evans style, but you can experiment with other positions of triads. What if you did all first inversion triads? Or probably weirder, all second inversion triads. Figure out what works best with your tune that you're working on. But then Evans also does what we sometimes call shout chorus voicings, block chords, or locked hands plus an octave. And this is the voicing style where we're going to put an octave between the melody note, or we're going to play the melody note in octaves, and then put usually 2 notes in between. So I'll show you the right hand first, because then the left hand is going to play those locked hands voicings again. It's going off of my sheet. I'm going to show it to you an octave down so you can actually see everything. You can see the notes are disappearing fast because I'm using my pedal. Almost the same way I was, just adding an octave below. So when I combine it with the left hand, phrasing, like this feeling of dynamics and phrasing, is so crucial for it to really sound like this Bill Evans-y style. So those are 4 different ways of presenting the melody. Let me play this tune for you one more time, and I'm going to try to mix all 4 once again, and hopefully this will make a little bit more sense to you. Before I do, just a reminder, best way to support my channel: liking, subscribing, commenting, and buying my books, which you can get from jeremysiskind.com. Playing solo jazz piano fundamentals. All right, here's a little bit of the Nearness of You. I'm going to start down lower with some thirds, and then I'll move my way up. We'll see what happens.